All right, man, let's talk about discipline. Let's talk about building habits. You guys have asked for it, and so I'm going to give my take, what I've been really doing. Yes, in my new business endeavor, but also just for the last couple of years, I've had pretty damned good habits. For the guys of you who have followed me since back in 2016, actually my old YouTube channel that got deleted, you guys know I used to post at a crazy rate back then. I posted a crazy rate here on YouTube. I'm also doing a lot with my new business endeavor. I have been an individual who's developed a pretty strong work ethic. I would say that's one of the traits that always gives me internal confidence, is I know I'm able to outwork the next guy. I know I'm able to keep myself accountable. And so I want to share how I've done that. Now I'll share, just let me be really transparent with you, a couple of things that maybe give me an advantage. First of all, I grew up with a father who was very demanding, that put me to work when I was young. Saturdays were not a day when I was a kid to play. Saturdays, I worked from 9 to 6. Sometimes, actually, I used to get up at 6 a.m. on Saturdays, clean trucks, do yard work, all kinds of stuff, pick weeds, whatever was needed. I did that. So one of the things I'm getting at is it helps if you've had a parent that made you work hard early. That said, you could still build discipline, and I actually have an accountability system I use to track my habits and to ensure I'm disciplined on a daily basis. I'll put a screenshot of it here right now. Now, what I'll say is this. First of all, you know what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to, in the description below the video, I'm going to try to link up a template to that Google Doc where you can literally steal the habit tracker that I have developed for myself to be more accountable. And what you'll really see is that habit tracker is gold. You know, this is something I used to only actually keep inside of my membership, Dominate Gold, but I've decided to make it public because it's something that everyone can use to succeed. So what you really have there is you have the day of the week on the left-hand side, and you have the date, right? So you have Thursday, January 14th, and then on the top you have the 7 or 8 or 15 or whatever habits that you have, right? So for me, one of my, I'll go through my habits. I was asked by one of you guys to talk about them, right? So I get up every day at 4:55 a.m. I then go to the gym immediately. When I get back to the gym, I go through my morning ritual, which includes shadow boxing. It includes reading the Robb Report. It includes being grateful for something. It includes reading my affirmations, right? So that's my morning ritual. I'm usually done, and there's a few other things, but those are the main key points to my morning ritual. I usually finish up by about 7:30 a.m., and then I'm pretty much working from 7:30 a.m. till about 8 p.m. at night, maybe 9 p.m. Sometimes I work till about 9, but I like to stop working by about 9 p.m., at which point I have my PM ritual, which includes the Sam Walton sundown rule, wherein you basically clean up your desk and prepare everything for the next day. You make sure that your calendar is set for the upcoming day. And then I take a shower, and then I read my affirmations one more time, and I usually go to bed. That's pretty much what my day looks like Monday through Friday. So I get up at 5 a.m., or actually at 4:55, so that I can be in the car on the way to the gym by 5 a.m. sharp. I work out from about 5 to 6. I come back, I take a quick shower, then I do my morning ritual. Then at that point, it's about 7:30 in the morning. From 7:30 to noon, I usually am reaching out to banks or, doing my outbound calling and outbound emailing. In the afternoon, usually I take more time to either do meetings or appointments or to speak with individuals on my board or to handle situations that are ongoing, right? To try to close deals or try to close agreements, try to get documents signed, right? So of course for me, the middle of the day, it changes on a day-to-day basis. I've actually been documenting a lot here on YouTube what my day-to-day tends to look like, or at least what are the main tasks I'm trying to achieve in the main bulk of my days. But again, I wouldn't be able to achieve those things if I didn't have the discipline to start my day early, to get the workout in, to get things rolling. For me, that really gives me a sense of confidence going forward. And I would recommend, if you're trying to if you want to develop discipline and habits, use that habit tracker it should be below. Again, check it out. You can get the template, and then you can put for yourself your own habits that you want to track. You can choose whether you want to track those habits 7 days a week versus 5 days a week. But by tracking your habits daily, what my clients and I have found, and I'm not doing so much client work now, but I was working with clients pretty much full-time. In fact, indeed full-time from 2016 to, what would it have been? All the way through 2018, basically. So basically 3 years, 2016, 2017, 2018, I was working with clients. And we really found that when as guys or as people, we track our habits every day, or at least Monday through Friday, we get a lot more out of ourselves. This is the same thing, actually, to go back quickly to the Dan Pena mentee program. A lot of you guys have been, recently subscribing because you found my content through QLA. That's one of the things that the mentee program gives the mentees, the students that go to the castle, is a weekly accountability system. As I actually talked about in a recent video, one of the reasons I dropped out of the mentee program is because I already had that internal system myself. I have found a way where I'm able to track myself daily. But see, my internal system only takes about 5 minutes a day to track, whereas Dan's takes about an hour a day. So I really like that time arbitrage that I've been able to create with my own internal system. Now, that's not to say that Dan's system's worse, my system's better. It's just a matter of preference. For me, it works great to keep myself accountable. But for other individuals, maybe like yourself, you would want a more robust tracking system to track everything from the number of cold calls you made that day to how much you worked out to you may want a really robust system. Maybe if you're at the initial stages of trying to build some discipline and build some accountability into your life, that would be more favorable. But for me, I like my own system. Again, I'm going to try to have that below. I intend to be successful in doing so that you can download the template. But ultimately as well, I would say get around people who are disciplined, get around people who are motivated, get around people who are accountable. Another question I've been asked here recently is, have I cut out a lot of the people in my life who are less disciplined, less focused on success, things like that? I wouldn't say that I went quite to the full end of cutting people out. In other words, there was one guy I heard of recently, I think through Dan actually, who literally changed his voicemail to say, for his old existing phone number, to say, hey, this is Bob, or whatever his name was. Hey, this is Bob. Want to let you know that if you're hearing this voicemail, I've cut you out of my life. I no longer have time for you. I'm on to new things. If you don't have my new number, it means you're not a part of my life. And then it beep, right? So leave a message. So that's what some people have done at the extreme when they've started a new business endeavor and they've cut the dead weight from their life. For me, I've not done that. Now, I will say that certainly I'm spending less time with certain people than perhaps I did in the past. I'm very conscious of who I do versus do not spend my time with, but I've not made any hard and fast decisions, right? There's certain people in our lives that enter our lives, in my opinion, for certain reasons at certain times, right? I have very fun individuals in my life. Maybe I'm not spending as much time with them. I'm not going out on weekends, maybe like I was doing 2 or 3 years ago, but I've not completely cut them out of my life. So that's how I've handled it. That's a personal decision for me. But again, if you're trying to become very successful and trying to build a ton of discipline and a lot of habits that you've never had before or that you've struggled to have in the past, then getting rid of some of those people in your life is certainly going to make your life easier. That's just the reality of the situation. So I'm not here to try to prescribe a one-size-fits-all formula. I don't believe in that. What I have found, however, is that if you track your habits on a daily basis, you'll basically force yourself to be accountable, which includes, you're going to see on that document, I'll give you a sample day at the top, on the top row, where you basically put win, W, or L for loss for each habit. And so one of the keys with that document is making sure that you don't just track the days when you succeed, you actually track the losses. You actually track the days where only perhaps you achieve 3 of your 9 KPIs, 3 of your 9 key performance indicators, 3 of your 9 habits, if you will, right? It's really important to put those days where you do actually miss on most of the KPIs that you have, because again, that puts that competitive fuel in you. When you see that Tuesday on January 14th, where you only did 3 of the 9 KPIs that you like to get done on a daily basis, you are motivated that night when you go to bed to do a lot better the next day. That's really one of the keys I've found, as well as it's one of the things my clients and the members I've had in Dominate Gold, one of the things they've found is that when they keep full accountability of themselves and they track the good, the bad, and the ugly, that their average raises considerably, right? If you only track the good and then for 2 weeks you disappear and then you come back for a week and then when you don't track, what happens is you're actually way less accountable than you think you are, right? You don't want to give yourself an overly rosy picture of how disciplined and how accountable you are, which means you have to track every day, right? It takes discipline in and of itself to track every day. But what happens with the habit tracker, and I keep going on about this because this really is the way that I have engineered a way for individuals to build accountability following basically a step-by-step process. Not that it's for everyone, but it certainly has worked for a lot of guys in the past that I've shared this with. And the thing is in time, you get that dopamine rush, you get that sense of excitement and fulfillment when you track your days for the whole week and you see exactly what you did and did not do for an entire week. It's a very fulfilling thing to see, wow, I got up 4 of the 5 days at 5 a.m. I worked out 4 of the 5 days this week as well. I did my morning ritual all 5 days. I did my PM ritual 4 of the 5 days. I made 50 or more calls 3 of the 5 days. Okay, cool. Overall for the week, I did 84% of what I was trying to do for the week. So I'm going to B right now. Let me try to get that to a B plus or an A minus next week, right? What I'm saying is it gets fun for you. It becomes a game to beat your personal best, to do better than you did last week. You get competitive, it becomes a game, but a game wherein when you succeed on tracking your habits, you'll find that your external success increases too. Trust me when I say, when I score 95% or higher for my week on my KPIs, I tend to get a lot more done than when I score a 75. Meaning when I do 95% of the things I know I should do on a weekly basis, I do very well for that week in my business, whether it's growing a clientele in the past or now, whether it's, recruiting board members in accounting firms and law firms and soon to be talking to bankers and getting financing and closing deals, right? So what I'm saying is you can control your external reality in large part by taking control of your habits internally, right? That's the beautiful thing about being a human being is we have this capacity to change ourselves, to grow ourselves, right? I used to not be a individual that had much confidence to speak up, to sell, to persuade. I've developed those things because actually, I'll tell you the story where this came from. Back in 2011, I want to say, maybe 2012, probably 7 or 8 years ago at the time of recording this, I used to be, when I was 19, for example, I believe I lost my virginity when I was 19. I was very awkward around women growing up through high school. What I did is I went to UCLA, and I actually went to UCLA to figure my shit out. I studied psychology at UCLA, and at this point in my life, I was anxious and awkward, and I didn't have much confidence. And so one of the things I decided to do was actually to approach all of the women at UCLA. That's one of the exercises that I took upon myself that probably improved my life as much as anything. It's why I talk a lot about the power of the 1,000 action rule, something I talked about in a prior video, where you take a bunch of actions, putting yourself out there repeatedly, and it changes you. It makes you more confident, changes your social skills for the better, all these different things. But what I actually learned to do back at UCLA to keep myself accountable is in my day planner I had each day, what I would do is I would actually write in the bottom right-hand corner, I'd make a little square, and in the bottom right-hand corner, I would write the number of approaches I did each day, right? So the number of times I basically said, hey there, excuse me, yeah, you look beautiful. I wanted to say hi, right? I tracked how many times I did that a day. And what happened over only a 2 or 3 month span is I remember at first it was so tough to approach women. These were beautiful women in Westwood down in sunny Southern California. I was a dork, goofy 20, 19-year-old kid, whatever. These are beautiful young women. And it was so difficult for me at first to approach. But I remember because I started tracking each day how many approaches I did, that within 30 or 60 days, man, I had so much freaking momentum. I was approaching women like mad. I had more numbers in my phone. I actually finally lost that phone that I had from way back. I ultimately had thousands and thousands and thousands of different numbers from different women, most of them very attractive. Again, because I just got in the process and really the practice of tracking my performance each day. And what it would come down to is if on Monday I approached 2 women, when I would be on my campus on Tuesday, I would try to do 1 more than the day before. So say on Tuesday, then I approached 4 women. Well, on Wednesday now, I want to approach 5 women. I ultimately got myself to the point where I was at points approaching 20 to 25 women during the day in between my classes. And I was rolling up doing some of the most bold approaches. I was never in a fraternity. I didn't have the time to do that. I was working and paying for my school. I was always kind of jealous of kids in fraternities in university. But I remember I would roll in where all the cool fraternity kids for the top houses and the cool sorority girls were all there on the pool deck, and they all knew each other, and I didn't know any of them, and I would roll right in and just take my towel and lay it down and sit down or lay down or whatever. This was in a beach, like kind of a little pool environment in this specific story. But in other words, I rolled in and talked to the hottest girls on the campus, despite not knowing anyone. I didn't know any of the girls in the sorority. I didn't know any of the fraternity boys that were right there. I just rolled right in and had a lot of success. I got after a lot of these really beautiful women and did things that my former self could have never in a million years done. Now, I'm not saying that approaching women and getting a girl's number is the end-all be-all of success. It's not. But the point is if you had known me only 6 months before, you would have never in a million years guessed that I would be a guy that could roll in to these pressure-filled situations where there's all these cool kids and hot girls and this and that, and be able to just roll in and keep it cool and flirt and banter and get these girls' numbers. And I dated some beautiful women back in college, as some of my colleagues, if you want to call it that, or my fellow students knew, right? I really transformed myself. Again, all from tracking. That's really the point. Tracking my habits. I learned to track the number of approaches I did back in college, and I've been using that ever since. I've just created a more formal document, which again is going to be below. So check that out, download that, and use it. Use it, use it, use it, and use it to succeed. But that's how I've built more discipline in myself, and that, my friend, is how you can do so as well. I hope this has helped. If it has, share in the comments. Let me know. Let me know what you want to hear next, man. I've been trying to really make videos based on what you guys are looking for. So talk to me, and if you've liked the video, help me keep it helping you. Throw it a thumbs up, subscribe, and again, I will talk to you in the next video.